First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's a very sunny day outside, and that's definitely brightening my day, literally. And we have our third single released today, so it's a good day. How are you?
I'm good, thank you so much. In here, unfortunately, it's not very sunny. There's like a snowstorm and stuff, so
But that's nice and cozy.
yeah, that's true. Anyway, so your new album, Oh My God, is being released in a month or so. And I watched your studio documentary, and already there you seemed super excited about people finally being able to listen to the album. How are you feeling about it now?
Yeah, it's coming closer now. I mean, we've released 3 singles, one freshly today, but from the first 2 singles we had great feedback. And it's our first album since quite a longer break compared to the other releases. And with each record, even though this is our 8th record, it's always exciting. It's always a little bit scary. But the most important thing is when you create art is that you're happy yourself with the art that you created. But it's still, of course, a great thing if the majority of our fans love it too. But we have a very good feeling about this.
So you mentioned there was quite a long break between 2 albums. Was that mostly because of you guys toured quite much, and then there was the album anniversary tour as well? Was that the reason that there was quite a break, or?
Well, we had the sabbatical after we finished the Holographic Principle World Tour, which was our biggest world tour up to date. And so we didn't play any shows, but we took the time to write our biography, The Essence of Epica, which is our first official biography book. So that was a lot of work. And in between, we just enjoyed spending time with family and friends, not missing any birthdays or anniversaries. And yeah, it was much needed because we had such an extensive touring schedule from almost the beginning of Epica. We're such a touring band. Every 2 years, a new record. The Holographic Principle the vocal lines were partially written while being on tour for the Holographic Principle. So it was a crazy schedule, and this was a great time to just relax, reflect, because the writing of the book was also a little bit like a therapy or like a reality check, because we were sitting in a super fast-paced train. There was not enough time to reflect on everything that happened and process it. And going back in time, it's like a chronologically per record. So it started the Phantom Agony, Phantom Oblivion, up until the Holographic Principle. All 6 of us were digging up memories. Also, old band members were interviewed as well. And yeah, we achieved a lot. We experienced a lot. And it was great. It was necessary. And then 2019 October, when we finished some shows for our Design Universe Gold Edition, our 10-year anniversary, we started to get together and write and record Omega, which was then finished around end of April 2020. Set to be released actually in September, but then the pandemic came.
Yeah, you got some more kind of time off, I guess.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Has it been difficult for you to kind of, because I noticed on Instagram also that you're also doing homeschooling for your child. Has it been difficult to combine both lives?
There's someone at the door.
Oh,
excuse me.
That's okay.
I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah.
If we would be on like press tours, this wouldn't happen, but there you go.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I'm ready.
Yeah, what did I ask? Well, coincidentally, I asked about, combining the home life with the band life, so
how you know.
Great example.
Yes, it was a funny coincidence.
Yeah, anyway, so going back to Omega, personally, while I was listening to the album, I thought that it was kind of a bridge between, old Epica and new Epica. What do you personally think about the sound?
I think you are totally right. Even though we've evolved as a band, And with each record, we like to incorporate some new elements, but still keep the true sound of Epica. And with some records, we might have diverted a little bit too much, but each record is a little bit a time recording, like a photograph captures a moment. A CD for us is, of course, how we feel and are at that moment in time. But songs like, for example, Seal of Solomon, I think Code of Life maybe as well, Twilight Reveries, those songs have a little bit the old Epica touch to it, with the choir being in the being the chorus and the riffs and just the structure of the songs. So that's it's a little bit, maybe a little bit of full circle moment. So many years later, almost 20 years later, we went back to the roots. And the funny thing is that those songs are also written by Mark and Koen, and they are one of the oldest Epica band members. So and we have 5 guys in the band that write music. Each of them have a totally different style, and it's also fun to hear the personal favorites of the journalists. They are so different. And one of my favorites definitely is also Code of Life, because it has also that Arabic touch to it. That's something also very very familiar from the beginning of Epica, and something I totally love as well. So definitely a little bit of the old Epica, but more mature and of course improved. And I think you're totally right with that. That's something I say a lot as well in interviews.
Actually, I remember reading that there was supposed to be some kind of guest, the singer or something, that is something with Arabic or something. I read that somewhere, but while listening to the album, I couldn't recognize anyone. So did that not go ahead, or?
No, that is. I always butcher his name. I think you pronounce it Zahed. I don't know the last name. The singer from Myrath. We toured with them a couple of years ago. We did a European tour with them, and Koen is the writer of the song Code of Life, and he asked him if he wanted to do some atmospherical Arabic vocals, and I sing there as well. I love to do that, and I think it definitely lifts the song to another level. It's a great addition, and I always get goosebumps when I listen to it.
You also mentioned that you have the old choirs and things and things that Epica has been doing quite for a while, but in this album there is also plenty of new elements, like for instance the kids choir. Is it for you guys important to refresh things every time around?
We like to just improve wherever we can, and children choir was one of Koen's bucket list items. And Koen is our keyboard player, songwriter, and he has always been responsible since day one for the choir arrangements and the recording of the choirs. And with the holographic principle in the intro, his 2 kids are singing during the intro. You hear children's voice. But this is the first time that we added children choir, and I think it is really a great tool to change the ambience, the atmosphere. It creates a little bit of scary. It's innocent at the same time, but also a little bit doomy in a way. I think it definitely fits really well, and you can hear them in the song Rivers, Skeleton Key, Code of Life, Kingdom of Heaven. They're not there on all the songs, but the majority.
I noticed that their parts were also recorded in a church. Was there any specific reason for that, or just the acoustics?
The acoustic, yeah. Joost and Koen were there. Joost had his portable recording studio with him, and that's where the vocals were recorded. And luckily, the choir, the adult choir, the children's choir, and the orchestra was all recorded before the pandemic hit. In the middle of March, that's when Mark and I were supposed to record the lead vocals. That's when we had to search for alternative options. So.
Yeah, you guys recorded at home, or you went to a studio in your neighborhood. Was that for you? Do you think, is that something you would do again, or would you rather record in the Netherlands?
I think it is a great solution for situations like this. It had definitely advantages, but also disadvantages. And now in this particular time, it is, especially when you have a family, it's very difficult to find concrete hours to actually work and be productive. And even though, I loved waking up in the morning, making myself a little lunch, and then drove to my job, which was the recording studio, not far, work a couple of hours and go back home. And normally I would be in the Netherlands. I live in Germany, in the south of Germany. I would be in the Netherlands for like 10 to 14 days. I would be in a hotel, which would mean I would be more focused on just recording my vocals and relax afterwards, because singing, recording for like 5-6 hours, I find it's hard work for the body and for your mind as well. And then it's great if you don't have to cook and clean and
Yeah.
all those things that go shopping. And it was the beginning of the pandemic, so I had some sleepless nights because I didn't know what's going to happen. But it worked out well because Joost was there on Zoom on the iPad. I could hear him on my headphones. He could hear me sing. Afterwards, we would send him the files so he could work on them and edit them and incorporate them in the music. So that was great. But of course, when I came back home, our son was not in school, so my husband took him in the morning so I could record my vocals. And actually, for me, recording vocals in the morning is not the best time. I'm still like a little groggy, and I actually need a couple of hours. But we had to make it happen. It was created out of kind of peculiar circumstances, and being in the Netherlands would mean I would miss my husband and son, of course.
Yeah.
But that's not like a tour like 4 or 5 weeks. It's only 2 weeks. So I would actually prefer next time to be in the studio in the Netherlands and to fully concentrate on that, and then rest and be refreshed the next morning.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Do you feel like not being able to be in the Netherlands and to have this kind of strict schedule, do you feel like it had some kind of effect on your vocal performance for the album as well?
Yeah, I think it added a little extra emotional touch that I maybe wouldn't have had if I were in a different state of mind or a different life situation. I mean, I was definitely kind of frustrated at some times. I sometimes suffer from sleepless nights, so I had to take sleeping pills, but I found out they affected my voice as well. So I had to stop taking them. And I almost killed myself with the car because I parked the car and I didn't put on the handbrake. And the studio, it's located on a minor hill, and I got out of the car and the car drove back. I was like, what's happening? But that I still had the sleeping pill in my system, even though I never take a full one. I took like half of or a quarter. And even though you're awake, it still has like it takes about 8 hours or 10 hours to be out of your system. And ever since that happened, I double checked, did I put on the brake? And it worked for 10 times. And then on the 11th day, I forgot to pull the handbrake because I was like somewhere else. Actually kind of dangerous. And I was totally high on adrenaline after that. I had to call my husband and tell him what happened. And I needed a break to collect myself. And it's not like on a huge hill. It was just a tiny elevation. So I thought, okay, maybe not take the sleeping pills. And I talked to a friend of mine, Jen from Evanescence. I talked to her about that, and she said, yeah, sleeping pills are the worst for the vocal cords. I mean, if you have to sing in the evening, it's okay, but it kind of relaxes all your muscles, also your voice. So when I would start singing, I had no control over my vocal cords. That was such a weird experience.
Anyway, so let's talk maybe about the concept of Omega.
Yes.
It's like the end of a trilogy. So can you briefly talk about the themes that are going on in this album?
Yeah, it's of course the end of Kingdom of Heaven, and this is a little bit the continuation where science and spirituality, they have to get together to find out the true meaning of life. And a big topic that's coming, that's like in a lot of lyrics, is the balance between light and dark, yin yang, that we have within ourselves, that we're constantly kind of struggling with. Songs like Freedom, Abyss of Time, Synergize, they basically talk about that topic. Global warming, genome editing, esoteric science. What else? Yeah, Seal of Solomon is the esoteric science. Twilight Reverie is about when you have before you fall asleep, you have this brief moment where you get like these genius thoughts and everything, and that they disappear really fast. Yeah, so it's definitely a very spiritual album. It's also a little bit about, on the artwork you see also this labyrinth within this woman, and there's this tiny figure trying to navigate through the labyrinth. That's also very present on the album, that we all have this labyrinth within ourselves in which we have to navigate through our lives, like all through our lives, in order to find the true meaning of life, about, why are we here, what am I going to do with my life. Maybe it's that we're all like mid-30, or I'm the youngest, 40 already. Some of the band members have passed through at the age of 40. But yeah, it's a very spiritual album, very profound, and yeah, it's the end of the trilogy of Kingdom of Heaven, but it's not the end of Epica. Omega does not stand for the end of Epica. And the funny thing is that on the artwork you see the number 8, and 8 is also the infinity symbol if you put it to the side. And Kingdom of Heaven is also about life after death, that we're never really gone, everything is connected. And Kingdom of Heaven is placed as number 8 also on the album.
Oh, okay, cool. I did not notice that. So, well, you briefly mentioned, of course, this is not the end of Epica, but the album is called Omega, which is also, the end of something, and in this case, the end of the trilogy as well. But do you feel like this is the end of an important chapter in your history somehow?
Yeah, I guess it's maybe a closure of the trilogy, but not a change of direction for Epica. We've always had topics in our lyrics that are, soul searching, mixed with very recent topics about, things that are happening in the world. And we will continue this journey, definitely. But what Mark comes up with for the next album title, I don't know. It's always his idea, the name of the album. And he started the whole story about, the Kingdom of Heaven concept, the holographic principle, and the Omega point. The official original name for the album would have been the Omega point, but we settled with Omega because it's nice and powerful. And the Omega point is basically that you have the Big Bang, the creation of the universe, and the Omega point is where everything gets together at the end, where we all become one with creation.
Yeah.
And that's his idea. I am also spiritual, but in a different sense than Mark, I would say. And we both write the lyrics. He writes the lyrics for the songs that he musically composed. And then we divide the songs. And there's one song on the album, it's called Freedom, The Wolves Within. That's the one we wrote together in a way. The idea came from him. And then he asked me to join. And I think for this album, we kind of really came together with the songwriting of the lyric writing without consciously planning it, if that makes sense.
So when you sing lyrics that were written by someone else, do you then talk with Mark about the meaning so that you can get into the right emotion while singing it, or how does it usually go for you?
Yeah, it's partially like you say, but I've always been singing his lyrics, so I connect also with his lyrics very well. I gave him the compliment that I really am very proud of the lyrics in this album, his lyrics, but I'm also very happy with the lyrics for this album. We had so much time to do this, to go into detail, and so I know what is behind his lyrics, and I've been singing them since the beginning. And it's not that because I wrote the lyrics, there's a more emotional connection to it.
So you mentioned that the previous album you wrote in between the tours, and this time around you guys met up and wrote together, and a lot of Finnish bands also do that. They go to a summer cottage and they write. Do you think this kind of had an effect on the album that you were together as a group?
Yes, definitely, and that's something we couldn't really do in the past because we live in 4 different countries. Mark lives in Sicily, I live in Germany, Isaac in Belgium, and the other guys, they live in the Netherlands. And we were always touring. So in between, we were like, no, I want to be home. I want to see my family and friends. So, we were getting comfortable in our home studios and started to write like this. And I think after we had our 10-year anniversary, the Retrospect Live DVD, we wanted to switch things up. We started working with Joost, and we wanted to go back to basics. But still, the Quantum Enigma, I just had my son. Then Holographic Principle was written during the European tours, at least the vocal lines. And we had such a crazy schedule. It was insane. And after that, with the sabbatical, we thought, okay, I think maybe it's going to be beneficiary, I don't know how to say, for the better to do it like getting together as a band. Of course, we all had written demos, like rough versions of the songs at home. And I had the chance to work on vocal lines. And in the past, my job as a singer would be at the end when the songs would be finished, I would then start to write vocal lines. But now I was included earlier in the process, which meant that we adapted the songs in order to make the vocals, give them more room to play with. And being together in the same house, like everybody had their home studios with them, Joost was there. We would work together in little teams, work on the songs, and you have this immediate exchange of musical ideas. And normally we would send each other emails and wait for the other to reply, and then you could continue to work again. It was not always very productive to do it like this. And we consciously decided to not accept any offers for a live show. So we would be completely, dedicated to the writing and recording of this album. And it was, for the better, I guess, to do it like this. And it was also fun, be in a house together, having breakfast in the morning, and then, work all day on the songs. And in the evening, I would cooked as well. And then we would just sit together at the table and drink wine and kind of reconnect as a band and as friends, without the pressure of we have to go on tour and we have to do this or that. Our main focus was the album.
Do you feel like you needed this as a band, considering that you have been working together for so long?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as a group of people, 6 total individuals, different characters, working together in a band is such an intense job. And we've gone through so many things together. And this was just us reconnecting and, sharing the passion that brought us together, and that's creating music. And it was a really nice experience.
In the fall, Arian's album Transitors was also released, and you were also singing on there. And I was actually quite impressed because you do some things in there that I haven't heard you do. So that was really cool. I was wondering, did you learn anything from that album that you used in Omega?
No, not really. I mean, I recorded the vocals for Transitors in summer 2019, was it? Or 2019. And also recorded the video with Tommy in 2019, and the Human Equation I recorded last summer in July in the COVID era. But working with Arian is always, I don't have a lot of things to do. He prepares everything to the smallest detail. So I can practice the songs, record them real quick. We freestyle here and there a little bit, and that's it. But for me, a learning experience that I might have included a little bit with Omega was also the Attack on Titan EP. That was kind of a new experience for me to sing on those super fast songs, do a little bit of character singing. So that was for me a great learning experience. And with each record, I do like to try different things. I went a little bit more back to the classical singing as well. I just try to do what the song needs or what I feel the song needs, and I like to explore different vocal assets.
Yeah, I think we already kind of briefly mentioned what the challenges for you were as a vocalist. You mentioned the sleeping pills. Were there any other challenges that you overcame throughout recording the vocals?
No, not really. I do remember I would go to the gym to work out, and that was a great substitute for not having any live shows, you know. It's still not the same, but at least you would have the physical movement, the adrenaline. And the gyms were closed as well, so I tried to do home workouts. And my husband told me about this app that he loved, so I started doing that. And I had the worst muscle ache. I almost couldn't walk up the stairs. So in between vocal takes, and when I had to go to the bathroom was up the stairs. And it took me forever to go up and down for 2 days. I had the worst leg muscle ache from doing like 50 squats. So I wanted to stay in shape, but it actually turned me into a grandma. But I could laugh about it. I mean, I was like trying to walk, and this pain that's also kind of funny at the same time, you know. Yeah. We do the best we can to stay in shape, but sometimes we have those little silly moments.
Yeah. You guys also released an acoustic version of Abyss of Time, and that's something you always do to, you know, have different versions of songs. Is that something you do just because you want to have some fun, or where does this come from?
Yeah, we started doing that with the Quantum Enigma, taking the songs, rewriting the lyrics a little bit, and just have fun. Use all the instruments that are that are within our reach. Yeah, we got positive response from that. So yeah, we did it again for this album, and it's a great way at the end of a very serious, long recording, like tedious recording of repeating yourself, and it's a nice, refreshing way to reinvent the songs and just have fun.
So you also have a tour with Apocalyptica and Wheel, which is now rescheduled to 2022. So hopefully that one is happening at least. But how are you looking forward to play the songs live? Have you been missing playing shows a lot?
Yes, I miss it, and I'm excited because these songs definitely need to be played live. This is the first time in our career that we haven't had shows for such a long time without us actually planning it to be like this. And with the writing of Omega, we also really wanted to make sure these songs on the record are great live songs. So we just have to be patient, and I've been looking forward to the tour with Apocalyptica for a long time, and it was quite a challenge to reschedule the tour, but fingers crossed, it's now so far in the future that I hope it's going to happen.
Are you guys planning to play a lot of the new songs live?
Yes, the majority. With each new record that we release, you know, shortly after the release, this time is going to be 1 year later, if, you know, we can do the festivals, not, but then we pick at least, you know, 4 to 6 songs from the new album. But we want to keep everybody happy, so we also mix it with some Epica classics. And depending where we play, if we play on a festival and you have a short set list, that's when you go for the quick and powerful, catchy songs to just catch the attention of the audience.
Are you guys planning to do a live stream? Because that's now a new thing that came, but maybe it's not so practical because you live in different countries.
Yeah, it's difficult for us now, like you say, different countries, different rules concerning the pandemic. But we have started to rehearse the songs, you know, on our own to get familiar with the songs. So by the time we can get on stage, or, you know, some other alternative solution comes, that we can play the songs. So yeah, we definitely want to do something in order to honor the album.
All right, cool. Anyway, our time is up. Do you have any last thoughts you want to share with your fans watching this?
Yeah, just that I hope everybody loves the album. We worked so hard on it. It's such a honest and deep, profound, spiritual album. And for me, music has been a therapy as well, in good and bad times. And I think we can all need a little bit of music to keep us company in these times. So thank you everybody for listening, and hope to see you very soon.